Day one of the 5th Ashes Test at the Oval. Ask George. Simon Stokes asks, what's happened to the smart cricket England have been playing? Seems to have been forgotten about in this test.
I don't know. Yeah, it did feel like that at times, but I'm not sure that they're that much behind in this game. And had they batted as they used to have batted, might they have been bowled out for 150? I don't know.
Didn't they play some dumb cricket at Edgbaston and Lords at times?
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's necessarily fair.
Well, they played. I don't know. It was dumb at Edgbaston. I mean, the declaration was brave, hubristic, call it what you will. Lords, they played some poor cricket for a bit, and obviously they dropped quite a lot of catches. But equally, in Leeds and Manchester, they played some, and even today, they played some very entertaining, very good cricket. And they are just behind the game against the World Test champions. So I don't know. I don't know what I think, but I do think it's going to be hard to sustain the we're reinventing Test cricket if they lose 3-1. But I also think they've got a bit of a point.
I think a good question from Matthew writes, what are the most important lessons learned and adaptations made by both sides in the series?
I don't think Australia have changed what they're doing that much. But they may, I suppose, reflect that they're a better side when they play a spinner. England, I think, need to just add a sense of sophistication to what their natural aggressive approach is. I thought they did it really well at times in Leeds and Manchester, and maybe they didn't do it quite so well today. But again, I don't want to be that critical. I thought the ball moved around quite a lot when they batted. They batted against a very good bowling attack, and sometimes it came off for them. So I don't know what a good score is. I found it quite a difficult day to work out. I do think Australia are just a bit ahead, but I don't know, they faced 5 maidens in a row there this evening. They weren't particularly going anywhere. I don't know, they're only just ahead of this game, I think, Australia.
Sushan asks, how many scented candles does Baz use? Ambient noise of which animal and which plant?
I'm not sure he does even that. I mean, I do think we're probably a proper Emperor's New Clothes territory, yeah. Well, I mean, I always thought the Bazball name was a bit disrespectful to Stokes, because Stokes is the major presence in this England team. He is clearly a player that other players respond to and admire. Every player involved in this series admires him. Clearly, don't they? Australia and England. McCullum, obviously, the McCullumisation of cricket, if you want to call it that, 10 years ago, whatever it was an incredible thing. And it took New Zealand quite a long way. But I think that you maybe want to see a slightly more sophisticated version of it. And I don't know that he's offering masses as a coach. I don't. But, it's an environment setter. Okay, that's what Trevor Bayliss did up to a point. But I think it's got a limited lifespan, that, yeah. I don't know, ultimately people are going to want to work on their batting and bowling and fielding, and if you keep dropping catches and you keep bowling no balls, you can't just go and play golf.
Isn't Bazball, though, just a cheap tag?
Well, it's the wrong name. It should have been McStokes or something like that. No, really, because it suggests it's all him. And as I say, I don't think he's the dominant figure in that relationship. It's like calling the Beatles Ringo Starr's band.
Not sure.
It's a good topical reference for the kids.
We're full of the culture references. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. Sam Hurst asks, has the standard of umpire in this series been as bad as you can remember for a long time? No. There's a bit of a contradiction in that question, but
no.
How far back can you remember? And can you remember far enough back that it's as bad as this?
I remember much, much worse, and I thought Joel Wilson got one today. Was it Warner, where the ball came off his arm, which was a really excellent decision. Look, I probably share some of the sentiments, but I'm trying to be more positive about umpires, because you don't want to get to the situation where it's like football and no one wants to do the job anymore. Are these the best? No. But I thought actually they had an okay day today. A good day even, actually.
Not the day to kick them, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
JDK asks, what is the point of saving Test cricket if you play it like a one-day international?
Well, one-day internationals are seen as quite fun, aren't they? There's something in it. I mean, this argument that they're saving it, I'm very uneasy with it, but I see what they're saying. They are terribly entertaining. And would people still be as excited? Would it be on the front pages as much if, say, Dom Sibley were playing? I don't know. I'd still be here. I'd still be enjoying it. You're not trying to appeal to me, are you? You're trying to appeal to the market that doesn't want to come all the time. And that is a factor. It would be naive to pretend that that isn't relevant. But you know, as I've said before, you don't want them to completely change. You just want them to add a layer of sophistication. You just want them to do it a bit better and soak up pressure at times. Again, I don't think today was the day to go hard at it because there were lots of caveats. I was more worried about Richard Thompson's comments about, you know, we've elevated the game to a different level. I think that's real hard to sustain if you lose 3-1. And right now, that's probably the most likely result, only by a little bit. It is a bit about winning. It's not just about entertaining. They'll all have squeaky red noses and giant shoes. Who doesn't like those?
Dave Studland asks, has Mother Cricket sent Bairstow a little reminder today? One good innings and a catch in the last game. Any criticisms of his performance this series were unwarranted?
Well, I don't believe in karma, because kids get cancer and Piers Morgan is successful. I don't believe in karma.
Lev Parakan asks, if an edge from a bowler bowling at 90 mph doesn't carry to the keeper, should the bowler bowl faster or the keeper stand closer?
Yeah, I think that's probably keeper error. Having just defended him, I think that's happened a couple of times this series. That is part of the job. The slips take their lead from where to stand and where the keeper stands. So if the ball's falling short, and it has done a few times, and it's not a pitch which doesn't have carry, it was a bit odd that. I think he probably was in the wrong place. I think that's probably fair comment from Lev.
I like the idea that Mark Wood bowling at 92 miles an hour isn't bowling fast enough.
Well, I think he's probably
that can't possibly be the pitch.
Ironic, yeah.
Rhiannon finally asks, which are better, England's very white whites or Australia's off-white whites?
Do you know, if I'm honest, that is the sort of thing I could have sat here for 100 years and not noticed that. I just don't. I'm going to shock you now. I'm not particularly fashion-oriented. I know. You're shocked.
Shoes, though, to be fair.
Well, they can't see my shoes.
No, but I can, and it's.
Well, how to describe them?
Well, there's a reason why we haven't got any separate lighting for the rest for the entire show.
They're very, very comfortable.
You're presumably running home in them.
I'll be stumbling home in them, no doubt, and taking the tube most of the way.